Okay, we're now talking about the labour process, how labour is reshaped continually by capitalist production. And the first aspect of this, which Marx discusses, is simply the length of the working day. When you sell labour power, you sell it for a period of a week or a month or whatever. You're paid by the week or the month. If you have an agreement about the number of hours in the week, it's very often these days it doesn't stick, but that is something won in the subsequent jostling for what the sale of labour power actually means. So Marx argues that in the logic of capitalist production, the length of the working day is inherently elastic. And he has a chapter of Capital which discusses this. It starts off with legislation in England from the 14th century onwards, which is continually to increase the length of the working day. It's to increase the length of the working day because these are times when capitalist production is beginning, where capitalist labour discipline has not become universal, and where the employers, therefore, capitalist employers, which are minority in the economy, call on the power of the state to get the workers to turn up for longer and longer hours. That changes in the early 19th century. In the 19th century, you get two things. Firstly, you get an enormous increase in the length of the working day, which is not down to law, which is down to economic compulsion. And that is because the new technologies of industrial capitalism give capitalists enormous potential to increase and incentives to increase the length of the working day. For example, they have electric lighting and so on, which can keep factories and offices working very long hours. They have expensive equipment, which they want used continuously. They are very concerned to turn things around very quickly, very fast. So that's how the working week is increased in the early years of the Industrial Revolution in England and in some other countries to lengths like 14 hours. The workers resist that and eventually win a reduction. That reduction is driven by the class struggle. It tends to stick because even from the point of view of capital, those very long working days are in the long term counterproductive. In the same way as if a farmer farms the same land again and again, year after year with the same crops, they exhaust the land. If you make people work 14 hours a day, day after day, their productivity decreases and their lives are wrecked. The driving force for a normal working day, for the winning back of life from the constraints of the using up of your labour power, is the class struggle. It tends to stick because up to a point it's consistent with increasing productivity. Even when we've won laws which restrict the working day, there is always nibbling at the edges. There's always nibbling at your breaks within work, pressure to continue working your breaks, pressure to continue at work and finish the job after your normal hours. That's part of the same thing. There's a class struggle which goes on about this all the time.